Hey guys, welcome back. Week 8, the last week of classes of this third partial. Today's February 28th, the very last day of the second month of this year. Okay, so the time is flying. And today, as usual, you need to leave an empty space for the topic's name. And then at the very right corner of your page, the date. So we're going to start with definitions like we usually do. The first definition is, what are parallel lines? Parallel lines are lines in the same plane, in the same coordinate plane, that will never, ever, ever, ever intersect. They could be as far apart as this, or they could be as close enough as this, but they will never, ever, ever, ever intersect. They're going to continue going in both directions. It could be vertical, it could be horizontal, it could be with a positive slope. It could be with a negative slope. It could be on the third quadrant, the first, the second, the fourth. It doesn't matter where, as long as those lines never intersect. Now, what is they have in particular two lines or several lines that are parallel? Well, their slope. Non-vertical lines are parallel if they have the same slope. If they have the same slope, but they have a different y-intercept, then you know that those lines are parallel. They cannot have the same slope and the same intercept because they're going to be exactly the same line. They will be intersecting in every single point. So they have to have a different y-intercept. So any two vertical lines will always be parallel. So parallel lines, M1 is equal to M2. We're going to have two equations and we're going to determine if they're parallel or not. So I got here the first example. Y equals 2/3 x plus 5 and y equals 2/3 x minus 9. What is the first slope? Let's call this equation 1. And let's call this equation 2. What is the slope of equation 1? Of y equals 2/3 x plus 5. What is the equation of that? What is the equation of that? What is the slope of that equation? Sorry. Y equals 2/3 x plus 5. What is the slope of that?
2/3.
2/3. Okay, correct. So that's what I'm going to place over here. 2/3. And what is the slope of the second equation? Y equals 2/3 x minus 9.
2/3.
2/3 as well. Very good. Let's find the intercepts now. The intercept of the first equation will be B1, and the intercept of the second equation, we're going to call it B2. What is the intercept of the first equation?
5.
5. And what is the intercept of the second equation?
9.
Nope, it is not 9. What is the intercept of the second equation?
-9.
That's it, -9. Be careful with the signs. Now, do I have the same equation? I mean, the same slope? Do I have the same slope? Do I have the same slope?
Yes.
Right? I do have the same slope. I'm going to place this over here. Let me fix this. Place this equation 1 down here and equation 2 down here as well. Yes, I do have the same slope. And do I have different intercepts? Yes, as well.
Yes.
So I can say that this equation is parallel. That's how we're going to represent the symbol of parallel to the second equation. Why? Well, because M1 is equal to M2, because 2/3 is equal to 2/3. So just because of that, I can say that they are parallel. This is the symbol that you need to use to determine if two lines are parallel, okay? Now let's go with the second definition. The second definition is perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect. They do touch, but they intersect to form right angles. What are right angles? Which ones are the right angles? What are right angles? What are right angles? Lucia, what are right angles? You know, we saw that last year. Diego, what are right angles? Landing, what are right angles? It's not possible that none of you know. Kelai? What are right angles? Let's translate. What is right? What does right means in Spanish? Natalie, what does right mean in Spanish?
Derecha.
Derecha. What else? If I say keep right, keep on going right. But not a la derecha. Keep on right. In
Like
Spanish.
Straight o derecho.
Otra palabra in Spanish.
Recto.
Recto. That's the word that we usually use. Recto, right? Y angles, what does it mean in Spanish? What does angle mean in Spanish?
Ángulo.
Ángulo. So right angle is ángulo recto. ¿Y what is an ángulo recto? What is an ángulo recto? A right angle or un ángulo recto is an angle that's like that. Está recto. Okay, that's a right angle. Un ángulo recto es esto. That means that it has 90 degrees. Okay, right angle is an angle that has 90 degrees. And you do know this. You knew this already. Okay, so a right angle has a 90 degrees. So as like this. So this pencil is in a right angle to this one. This pencil is perpendicular to the pen. Okay, this means perpendicular. They intersect in one point. In which point? In this exact point over here, where the pencil is touching. And as you can see, it passes through the other side. So this exact point, that is the perpendicular point, the point of intersection where they make a right angle. So now, the slopes of perpendicular lines, what are they? There are two lines that are perpendicular if the product, if the multiplication of their slope is -1. If you multiply the slope 1 times the slope 2, it has to give you -1 in order for us to say that it is a perpendicular line. Any vertical line with a horizontal line will always be perpendicular. This is the vertical line, and this is the horizontal line. They will always be perpendicular. Now you can have it in your coordinate plane like that, and that will be perpendicular, and they're not a vertical and a horizontal line. They're just two inclined lines that intersect in one exact point. Now, let's determine. This is the formula. M1 times M2 will be equal to -1. We have over here equation 1. We're going to call this equation 1. And we're going to call this equation 2. Now we're going to identify the slopes. What is the slope of equation 1? Equation 1 is y equals -1/4 x minus 1. What is the slope of that equation?
-1/4.
Exactly, -1 over 4. Now, what is the slope of the second equation? Y equals 4x plus 2.
Correct.
4, remember, without the variable. 4. Now I need to do this and see if it's actually -1. So M1 times M2 has to give me equal to -1 in order to make it correct. M1 is -1 over 4 and M2 is 4. Now remember, this has to be equal to -1. Now, how do we multiply fractions with a whole number? Remember what I told you, just multiply the numerator times the whole number and you place it over the denominator. In that case, we avoid placing that invisible one. If you want to place it and do it that way and multiply in a straight line, that's fine as well. So we're going to multiply. We're going to say -1 times 4, that's -4 over the denominator. In this case, it is 4, and it has to be equal to -1. Can I simplify -4 divided by 4?
Yes.
How much is that?
-1.
-1. Is -1 equal to -1?
Yes.
Yes. So this is correct. So what do I say now? We say that y equals to -1/4 x minus 1 is perpendicular. This is the sign of perpendicular to y equals 4x plus 2. Just like the image that I showed you with my pencil and my pen, the same figure. Okay, you see, same figure. This means perpendicular. Okay, so this is how we're going to determine if two lines are perpendicular. If, for example, instead of having a 4 over here, I'm going to do it in red on top, this was a 9. Okay, this was 9x plus 2. It meant that this would have been 9. This would have been 9. This would have been 9. And 9/4, -9/4 is equal to -1. They're not equal, right? So these two lines are not parallel and are not perpendicular either. Why not parallel? Because you're not the same. Why not perpendicular? Because they don't multiply each other. So probably they will intersect somewhere like that with a different angle. You see, this angle is much greater and this angle is much smaller than 90 degrees. So before determining if it's perpendicular or parallel, I need to do the procedure like this, okay? Any questions? No? Okay, we're gonna start doing more exercises, but before, let's place today's topic. What is the topic for today? What is today's topic?
Parallel and perpendicular lines.
Exactly, parallel and perpendicular lines. And that is the topic for today, parallel and perpendicular lines. Now we're going to do some more exercises. I'm going to pass you guys to the other side of the screen. I'm going to move this a little bit so we can start with some more exercises in which you're going to determine if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, because it could be that way as well. Okay, so we're going to say y equals 4x plus 12 and -4x plus 3y. Okay, that's not a whole x. Let's do it again. Plus 3y is equal to 12. Can I determine this over here, equation 1 and equation 2? That will be the first step. This will be equation 1. This will be equation 2. Okay, what is the slope of equation 1? What is the slope of the first? Exactly, 4. Can I determine the slope of equation 2? No, right? Because this is in standard form. So before doing anything else for equation 2, I need to transform it to what? To the slope-intercept form. So that's what I'm going to transform over here. So I have negative 4x plus 3y equals to 12. And I'm going to transform it by leaving the y completely alone. So it means that this 4x goes to the other side. Add it.
Adding.
So I have now 3y is equal to 12 plus 4x. Now I need to leave the 3 to the other side because I need to leave the y alone. And the 3 will go dividing, but it will go dividing term by term, okay? Because I need to simplify it to slope-intercept form. So I'm going to have 12 divided by 3 plus 4 over 3x. And I'm going to simplify before doing anything else. So y is equal to 12 divided by 3. 12 divided by 3, 4 plus, can I simplify 4 over 3?
No.
So 4 over 3 x. Now I can find the slope. What is the slope of equation number 2? Remember, this is equation number 2 now, transformed. What is the slope?
4 over 3.
4 over 3. Are they the same slope? No, so they're not parallel. Are they perpendicular? Let's prove it. Okay, remember, to determine if they're perpendicular, I need to multiply them. So I'm going to say M1 is different than M2. So they're not parallel. Okay, this is an equal with the little line in between. Now I'm going to see the other one for the perpendicular when M1 times M2 should give me -1. I'm going to do it in green as well. So M1 is 4. M2 is 4 over 3. And this is supposed to be equal to -1. Just like we did in this example, I'm multiplying the whole number times the numerator. 4 times 4, 16 over 3 should be equal to -1. Can I simplify 16 over 3? Can I? No, right? I cannot simplify. So is 16 over 3 equal to -1? No, they're not equal either. So what does it mean? That they're neither not parallel nor perpendicular. Okay, that's what it means, that they are both not parallel nor perpendicular. So they're neither. Sometimes that should be true, okay, because they intersect at a different point, not in a point where they are going to have a 90-degree angle. So they can be both. Sometimes they're either parallel, sometimes they're perpendicular, and sometimes they're both. They could never, ever, ever be parallel and perpendicular. Never, ever, ever, ever. They could be parallel and perpendicular. They could be parallel or perpendicular or none of them. Okay? Questions? No questions? Okay, then. So basically, this is the topic for today. We're going to continue practicing in our next class and then one last classwork.